Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast.
What's up, guys? I don't know about you, but I'm feeling Survivor 42. That that
Yeah.
that's a joke that's been going on forever, but
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm excited. We're done with our brand steals for a little bit. And now here we are doing another season of Survivor coverage.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is our fourth one.
our fourth.
That's
Yes.
kind of crazy.
It is. It is. Especially since the whole state of Survivor was up in the air because even though they still had the cast and everything for 41 and 42 back before, the pandemic and stuff like that, it was still just like with a lot of shows, still up in the air if things were going to happen, especially since Survivor specifically is a show that films overseas. Um, and with it being at a 40th and stuff like that, and viewership, while it definitely has a strong fan base, it's not one of the most popular things in the mainstream media
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not like the early days of Survivor
Oh yeah,
back in Borneo.
it definitely has its place. It's
Yeah,
definitely clearly there are still fans,
yeah.
but it is something where it was in jeopardy. But thankfully, the fans and everything worked out, and we've gotten two seasons as a result. And I believe they are going to start filming 43 soon. Um, yeah, so 42 is going to be interesting because with 41, we didn't really know what to expect or what kind of new twists and stuff. This time around, we have a vague understanding of what is going to be there. Now, things could mix up. Clearly they could have been like, oh, trial and error. Oh, this thing didn't work, so we might not. I don't know if we're getting the hourglass again.
I think that one is going to not be there, and I think Danny McRae. I think we have him to thank for that because he gave Jeff Probst an hour long talk down because he was like he hated it so much. So
Understandably so.
yeah,
Aside from the hourglass thing, and say what you, because obviously no one in their right mind, and no one would have blamed, if anything it would have been more sus as Erica didn't break it.
yeah.
Because no one's going to fault you for playing the game and wanting immunity for it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since it was going to be like Jeff Probst would have said, she had a choice. What did she choose? Like anytime that you have a choice to be safe and you choose not to be safe, like Survivor contestants love to take you out then because that is great. Like it's just funny for them. It makes it for a good TV.
True, but there are some certain situations in Survivor's history where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
One that I thought of earlier today was in Guatemala, the car twist and how that happened.
Yeah.
Where it was she wins and she could either keep the car or give everyone cars. It's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
There was an unwinnable thing there where you're going to be taken out. This one, it was clearly the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Was to smash the hourglass.
Yeah.
But yeah, we obviously know that the Were idols are coming back, and me going through because I did rewatch the trailer earlier today to kind of pick up on a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And it is back, and the potato line, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And it looks like Tori is the one that has to say that.
Yeah, she's got the potato. I would say, yeah, I have been watching some of the previews, some of the things that are coming up, and I think I might know actually who might be a potential first boots, solely based off of the previews.
That's always the tricky thing about previews. I try semi-voice, obviously.
I'll let you know when we get to the person too, because I'm pretty confident in what I've gathered.
I know there's a thing about medevac. I saw I didn't click on the thing because I try not to. I already have a very analytical mind.
Yeah.
And so I try not to watch too much if it's going to potentially spoiled. Like if it's a
Yeah,
trailer,
I didn't click on an article or anything. I solely have deduced the medevac by my own end. So if there is an article about it, then someone's already covering it. Good for them.
it's one of the things where it's like you can't help what you see, and
Yeah,
therefore you can't just like ignore it. And
yeah.
so like I'm probably gonna hear from you anyway. We'll get to that when we get to that person, or who
Maybe the
knows? It
last
could have
person,
been
because
someone.
I'm gonna get last pick. So if you avoid this
The
person,
thing is, I don't know who the person is though. So
exactly.
I could be like, that could be my number two. We already know who my number one choice is. Well, for
Yeah.
those of you who watch this channel,
Mhm,
um, for those of you who don't know, we'll get to it in a sec. But
mhm,
yeah, so I think like there is a little bit of like a mystery for me, so
mhm.
that way my choices aren't inhibited or not biased in the sense of like, oh, it just gets, you
Yeah.
get stuck with it.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I did try and base my list partially of like where I think the person is going to place, as
Mhm.
well as some of the early boots, because last time I didn't check like the differences between tribes and stuff. This
Uh-huh.
one I did kind of keep, especially for like the people that bottom 3 or 4 people on my list,
Uh-huh.
tribe chemistry. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited for this one, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, this should be good. So yeah, you get first pick here. So why don't you tell us who the obvious first pick is?
All right. Well, obvious to the people on the our fans of this channel, my first pick is Tori Meehan. And why Tori Meehan? Well, not just because I low-key have a crush, and she watches this. But yeah, you're pretty. You get this all the time, but it's not just that. So, looking at the Entertainment Weekly stuff that's been coming out and stuff, she is very, very socially aware person, and not just like socially aware in the sense of like, oh, I know how I'm perceived, and that's just how I'm going to. That's just everyone's thing. She does something about it too, where she's like, she'll say like she's a caretaker and stuff like that. Like, the fact that she's also a psychiatrist or psychologist. Sorry, I get the two mixed up all the time. Uh, it also plays a factor into that. Like she is a smart player, and because she's played a game Sequester, which is very similar to this, she already has experience in that regard. um so all these things are kind of going for her, and she just seems like not necessarily Parvati 2.0, but she seems like the new age Parvati. Whether or not she becomes a villain or not, you might have more insight since you've seen Sequester. We'll see, but I feel very, very strongly about her.
I don't think she's going to win the game. I actually don't see the route of her winning. However, I think as long as she's on like on TV, I think she's going to get a decent amount of screen time regardless. So if she has a deep run, she's probably going to be like a fan favorite of the season. But I also can see her being that late pre-merge, like right before the merge cut them kind of the robbed pre-merge goddess
Rob
kind of
Goddess.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I can see that being like her bad performance if things don't go well pre-merge.
Well, here's the thing about 42. If depending on how much of 41 goes in, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans. I'm hoping they cut down on it a little bit because maybe they realized, oh, it's too much. But she is someone that does get the Beware idol,
It does.
so
Yeah.
that could, you know, not work out in her favor, as we've seen it not work out for
Yeah. It seems like Modern Survivor getting like advantages is a curse. Unless it's literally like you need it, it's a curse.
It really depends. I mean, like especially now, like a
Yeah.
Beware idol, that's like whoa. Or the whole thing that happened in Island of the Idols, like twice. It's like, oh, you either
Exactly.
do this challenge with Boston Rob or don't, or
Mhm.
oh, you pick this up, or you just walk by it and hope some other sucker gets it.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are like booby traps within the game, but it's really like when it comes to random stuff like that, you can't really help what it does.
Mhm.
Like you can't really help it because it's a thing in the game. You just kind of have to roll with it, even if it's shitty. Um,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I would have picked Tori maybe at like a third or fourth round pick personally. So I still think she has good stock value. But it really is. I don't know if I really see the win coming from her.
it's fair, fair.
Yeah.
I think like there's a few more win condition ones, but like I guess
Mhm.
yes, she is my favorite to win, but we will see.
Yes, exactly. Hey, that's what I did in Survivor 40 with Tony Blanco saying, look what happens. That's
Exactly. And
so
yeah, I was like very, very like I remember I was like, what real? Because like
yeah, I had first pick that time. I gotta go. And it's I picked Tony as the first pick overall. Everyone else had him as the last pick.
because of like game changers, and I feel like
Yeah,
that outing with game changers plus his reputation prior, Tony played a smart game.
yeah,
So like yeah, so very, very smart choice on your end.
exactly.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, good first pick there. I think my first pick is going to be someone who my winner pick is Hai Jang. I
Very
think,
solid choice.
yeah, I mean, when I look at him, I just get that he's going to probably be pretty good at Survivor overall. I can't really imagine them taking him out too early.
Yeah,
Uh, Especially because honestly, this cast isn't exactly a very physical cast.
I've
Um,
noticed that. Um,
yeah, like we are going to have another person that's going to come at some point who's probably just going to like he might win out honestly just because there's only a few other potential physical threats out there. So if they go out pre-merge, we
I
really
feel,
might get a win out.
I I feel like who you're talking about might be a pre-merge, and we'll talk about that when we get to him.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
um, there is like another person who can, and is she my next pick? No, but she's up there. Like,
Yeah.
because like my top three, like Tori was there, um, and remains queen right there.
Mhm.
But I would say like the top, I will say even top five because I kind of mixed it up a little bit.
Mhm.
It kind of varied because like I can definitely see a win condition for any of these five,
Mhm.
and High was among there. He was
Yeah.
number four, but
Yeah.
that's because I feel like he's the pre-day or the pre-finale, or I was about to say pre-39, well, pre-26 boot, because he seems like
Yeah.
someone that has a lot going for him that they're
Mhm.
totally going to target
Yeah. He
at
definitely
4.
has Ricard Foyer kind of upside to him where I think he's going to be a great, like looking at him, I think he has that potential great survivor player, but he's going to be such a threat at final 5 or 6. But
Yeah,
if he can get through that like little period at the very end of the game, and get to the end, I think he's going to win a lot of jury votes, like whoever he's up against. So definitely picking this person. I think he has that chance to get down that far. It's really
yeah.
just can he get through like 2 votes.
It's tricky. It's a very tricky thing, and that's why um, sleeper threats and stuff like that is such a great style. But he's someone where I think he definitely has a social awareness. He seems like a very nice guy. I will say this: a lot of people on here, except for like, there's like one person where I'm like, uh, might ruffle some feathers, but we'll get to that person later on.
Sounds
But
good.
like I would say there's a lot of nice people on here, and I'm sorry for like there's like one person in particular I feel bad because they're so nice, but I don't think they're going to make it very far.
Mhm.
Um, but like we'll get to them in a sec. But like he definitely has a high chance of winning, in my opinion. So yeah.
Awesome,
All right.
awesome.
Next up, my second pick, and just like looking at everything, I do feel like this person has a very strong chance, and that's Chanelle Howard.
Oh, that was my next pick.
Yeah, great minds think alike. She is someone where one, she's a fan, a really good fan. Like not to say there are bad fans, but like she, you know, she's she watches it. She knows. She's very knowledgeable about that, and like Survivor fan. She even like name dropped a few, not us, but like, she name dropped a few you know, Survivor podcasts.
That ever happens, if anyone goes out there and name drops us, like
I will love you forever.
Yeah, come on the podcast. You can come on whenever you want.
Exactly. You have you might be our third host.
Yeah, exactly.
But like she seems very knowledgeable there, and I know there was more to it. All I put, because like for sometimes, because yeah, Ryan's has 2 notebooks, but there was more I was going to say about her, but the only notes I put down was smart, big fan, and I felt like Ryan was supposed to remember all of this.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I get Shan Smith vibes from her. I think she has the same kind of like she wants to kind of be in control. She wants things to kind of go her way. And I'm a little afraid that we might get a similar situation where it, you know, at the merge, maybe she's not, she's being a little too controlling over some votes, and maybe that ends up screwing her in a similar vein. But I think she's going to be a great player. Like I think
she is. I think she is too. I mean, like the thing is, and like sometimes, and I know like when I made this, there were some like thinking, oh, the exact same thing as 41 is going to happen. But I'm like, nah, it's a new game, different characters, new tribe chemistry. I feel like, and this is just going by, you know, like she doesn't seem to have the same instability that we saw in Shan later on in the game.
It's hard to say because we thought Shan was solid.
She was my number one.
Yeah, pick. Like she seemed like she wasn't going to have these issues, but I think the food did get to her. I think there's a few people out there that the food got to them, and did end up kind of blowing up their games at certain points. And I think Shan was one of them.
Yeah.
So I think if she was maybe on the regular season where they were getting more rewards, she was able to eat a little better, might have been able to not, you know, be so, you know, cranky and kind of like going down on her members. But yeah, you know, the same thing's happening with this season. You know, it's going to be scarce resources. It's all about managing to not bite down on your alliance members when you haven't eaten for days.
Yeah, and I think another thing, because definitely food, that's one factor we don't take into, because all we know from these people right now, or maybe the trailer a little bit, but most of our resources come from what's on the website.
Yeah.
And basically any interviews that they give. And like people on an interview is much different than how they like interact, because they're just interacting, especially with these, with a camera.
Exactly.
Much different when you get not just like interacting in a, you know, tribe chemistry and all that, but like just how they interact with a person in general is much different. And how that person might react in a stressful situation like that, whether it's hunger, whether it's a fast-paced game, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. And some survivors say, you know, like they feel like they changed a lot, even just over like the course of a week being out there. So like we are basically judging them on day one survivors.
Yeah.
Like, so we're only going to be able to know how well they're going to do on day one. Like that's as much as we can assess from them, because after that, it's just like they can become very different. Like the growth of David Wright over Millennials versus Gen X is huge. Like
Very much
no
so.
one would have thought he would have been like that kind of like it would be the fire maker and like a provider almost for the tribe.
And then
Yes.
come back for a, captain season as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So like people grow tremendously out there and become, and people change day by day, like we're getting kind of how they are telling us on that interview day and maybe a bio day that they had. Like we're
Yeah.
basically going off of how were they acting like around this time.
Yeah. And there's also a thing of like, I'm not saying I always have like the best BS meter or like, okay, maybe that. I mean, like, I would say in the same vein of like how we thought that Deshaun, like I said, like, yeah, he seemed like someone where he said he's going to play the villain and stuff like that. And that he's saying that, but we're not really going to see it. And to be honest, we didn't really see it. We saw him like, butt heads with Shan, but in the sense of like, it didn't seem like a villain thing to do. It was like Shan was causing issues and was an opposing force, not like a protagonist antagonist kind of way, but it was like these are two people with different point of views, and therefore it made the most sense for him to take out someone that was an ally. But yeah, there's just like so many different factors that play into it, and not including all these twists and who may find an advantage or disadvantage.
Hourglass twist can take out someone who maybe had a good chance to win the game.
Or do or die.
Yeah, or do or die. That one's coming back. Like that is coming back 100% because I don't think it's great. I think it's not good for the game, but I think Jeff got the one in how many chances of it happening, like a good reaction, and so now he thinks it's a good twist.
I think it's obviously. Yes, I do feel like we need to see it a few more times before we really, really get a feel.
I think the punishment needs to be tweaked. It should not be just a straight up you're out. It should be like in Australian Survivor, the dead man walking. Yeah, like you lose your vote for the next 2 votes or something like that. Like that would be okay.
Well, I mean, Survivor's always tweaking stuff, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm just saying because of how it played out, I don't think it will be tweaked. I think Jeff thought this is great television. We're keeping it. But unfortunately, I think that great television was like a small chance, and they just happened to nail it.
We'll see.
See. Okay. My next pick, is going to be someone who did fairly decent on our brand steals, and that is going to be Omar Zaheer, the animal veterinarian.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got the potential to be, the Rob Sesternino of the season. The, kind of dorky kind of character, but is actually, very strategic and kind of playing the game. Maybe is one of the better players out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that Meriton will win. I usually like to think that these kind of players, if they can get to the end, have a pretty good chance overall. But you never know. Sometimes, he might start neglecting the social side a little bit, and favoring the strategic elements of it maybe a little too much. But overall, I mean, I think it's going to be a great contestant. I think it's going to be great television. So yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping he does well. Like I think he's almost closer to my Tori pick in the sense of I'm just picking him because I don't think he's going to do great, and I want him on my team.
That's fair. He's someone where I still can't get over the whole. If I move my camera, I'm sorry. The whole thing of like his most embarrassing moment where he just stuck his hand in the wrong hole of the horse, or not horse. It was a cow. So, but he does seem someone, and like through his interviews and stuff, you made a good point with the Rob Sesternino thing. There's someone else who name drop Rob, but we'll talk about him. But when you bring out, he does seem like someone that could have that like Rob energy, that Rob Sess energy. Yeah, and exactly. We already know like he has. Well, I kind of looked at it, and he finds something in the beginning. Now, whether it is the Beware or not is still up in the air.
Yeah, I am pretty confident that he's going to be in alliance with someone else who I think will be making a deep run in the season. I don't think we'll win the season, but I think we'll make a deep run. And I think he's going to be at least attached to her for that run.
I know who you're talking about. We'll get to that person in a bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully in a bit. They're like, we'll talk about them when we get there. It's so hard not to. But I do think like Omar has a lot of potential coming into this, and I feel like it would be very upsetting if he went home early.
Yeah.
As for the social awareness, I think more so. Like I have an 8 on my list, not because I don't. I want him to be higher. He just seems like so obvious as a good player that during that like early merge or like mid merge part, I can see him totally being like a target, and everyone's like, gunning after Omar because he has that. We'll see how he actually plays and stuff, but it's going to be
I will say I think he is on the best tribe in terms of not going home pre-merge.
He's looked at tribe chemistry.
He's got Jackson Fox, Jonathan Young, Lindsay Dolishevich, Mariah, Sharon, Marianne Oketch, and himself.
They do definitely seem like a strong team. I agree with you there.
Yeah, so for that, I think he's going to be safe pre-merge. Now we don't know there will be a tribe swap. 41 didn't have a tribe swap. I'm not sure if this one will have one as well.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that might stop it from having a tribe swap was the whole thing with the Beware idols, because it's like, just because how that was structured, it's very hard to do that twist and then do like a tribe swap sometime within it as well. Because imagine just getting 2 Beware ones and just having to say both.
You just sound like you're rambling crazy stuff.
That can be an effective method. Shane Powers used it. Matthew, I forget who was on his name on Amazon, was the runner-up, Matthew something.
And Matthew von Ertfelda.
That guy worked for him as well, but you never know. Worked for Nora. Well, no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say some of these like worked for them. Like it got them to be ghosts, but
got them further. I mean, like 100,000 isn't chump change.
Yeah,
you never know.
I mean, Nora didn't even get 100,000. I think she got 80 grand because she got thirds.
Oh, 80 grand. She might have well got nothing.
Yeah.
Omar, definitely not a Nora. Definitely, he's there to play, and he's definitely someone I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Next up, we have someone. I like my physical threats, and this person definitely seems that way, mostly because their profession is, a personal trainer. And so my next pick is Drea Wheeler. She seems tough. She gives off a vibe of like she can be like the leader and stuff. I'd say, because like you said, it's not a very physical overall tribe, and I feel like, she even said she was going to like alter what she actually does because she doesn't want to give a certain perception. She has that social awareness, which is always good to have that if you are like a physical threat, because a lot of physical threats are like, oh yeah, I'm a physical threat, so I have to tank through, and it works for some, but it's a high risk, high reward type of deal. I feel like she can find that balance. I can see her kind of like maybe, having a power struggle. It's tough to say because we don't know like where the alliances and stuff like that will go in the future, but I see her as a leader and also someone that can play through and win some challenges to keep her safe.
Yeah, I think she's going to definitely be safe pre-merge as well. Especially looking at her tribe. I think looking at this, I can see her getting along with at least like 2 or 3 people here. So I think she'll probably be safe mostly. I'm not sure. I see her making a pretty deep run, but not really being able to make it all the way. I think I could see her maybe starting off pretty strong and then fizzling out somewhere in the mid game and kind of becoming someone's pawn for a little bit and then getting taken out for when the final kind of showdown starts kind of emerging.
I can see her as kind of a meat shield.
Yeah.
But if they underestimate, I don't feel like there's like one person that I think can be very like, just looking at the wrist, there's like, all right, I'm going to retract that. There's like two people that I can see being underestimated. However, there is like, I would say there are like four people that I have very, very low expectations that they will make it to the merge. Everyone else, I feel like, it's fair game whether or not they'll make it to the merge. But, like so many different factors kind of play into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like she's not someone that would be underestimated with this kind of cast, but I can see how someone might. But I feel like she has a good social awareness as well as like, having the physical threat. And I feel like, she can make like the tough decisions when it comes. And I feel like, yeah, she has it in her to like blindside someone or something like that.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I think that's a decent pick right here. Cool. Okay, my next one, you're going a little more of the physical route. I'm kind of choosing a little more of the strategic and strategic routes. And yet again, someone who I don't think is going to win maybe a lot of challenges, but I'm actually is in a similar type to someone who was a huge favorite going into 42, like a similar type. I'm choosing Mariah Sharon.
She was actually my number 5.
Oh, really? So you were about to pick her?
Yeah.
Nice.
Great choice. I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, what was interesting about Survivor 41 was Tiffany just felt like she was the main character for a while she was out there, and I think they were trying. And I think it was filmed, it was edited and all this stuff after 42, so they knew the outcomes and everything. I think they wanted to try to get a lot of people on board to the like mom figure character and let people kind of attach themselves to someone like that, so that way when they did have another mom character who's going to win in the next season, I think that I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm just saying that I think that there's potentially they were trying to lead up and get us ready for a Mariah kind of win here.
I don't think you're totally wrong. So I don't think it is a stretch per se. However, I feel like in recent Survivor, like Janet being a huge example, like, we were like, Janet, she's gonna be that, but then she turned out to be one of the best parts of 39, if not the best part, depends on who you ask. But I feel like that mold is getting like, more and more like not broken, but more so of like that type, except for Heather, who, just didn't get a lot of the edit in 41. But like, no, I feel like it is a thing of like these days of like being like, all right, kind of like subverting expectations in that regard, or like trying to put that stereotype aside. For me, like part of the reasons why I was drawn to her, she's a teacher. She seems like a very strong woman. I believe she's from Jersey, and Jersey peeps, they they don't put up with stuff. And I feel like she can be very assertive. She has a very caring nature, and I feel like, especially as someone that's in the education field, she has that like dial, that like kind of like switch, not switch, or like that kind of like dial, that like like kind of like the dimmer switch and stuff like that. It's like, I feel like she can definitely play both ends of that, and I think that really makes her a strong contestant in that regard.
Yeah, she's also the oldest woman contestant, I believe, on the season.
Yeah.
So
she looks great for her age too. Like,
exactly.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I said, I totally 100% agree with your choice with her. She seems like a very solid person to root for.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, people at home, root for whoever you like. And like, it may not be popular, but at the same time, go for it, because like your opinion matters, and like you could be totally right.
Yeah, I mean, people usually also, like the people who they feel they're most similar to. Like, I feel like that happens a lot of the times too. So, yeah, I mean, you can like any contestant for a multitude of reasons. So yeah.
It's funny how you said similar, because there is one where I've been drawn comparison to, and I even have the same shirt. Granted, mine's a little bit lighter, but we have the same shirt. It's like a blue baseball, shirt.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yeah, you made the first thing. He's not my next pick. I
was going to say, if you're picking him now, I was going to be surprised.
No, but he is not one of my favorites to win. Though, I give him some credit.
Yeah.
My next pick, and this one, it's like looking at I think we'll see. I'm just gonna say it. My next one is Swati Goal.
Swati, interesting.
The thing is, there is a comparison. She does seem like very much a sleeper threat.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, especially since Erica won, I'm not saying like obviously she's gonna win. She's number 6 on my list, but I feel like she has potential as a sleeper, and obviously, that's a strategy that I favor. That's strategy I like. And like, just looking at, yes, she seems very sweet on the surface, stuff like that, but reading her bio and how one of her pet peeves is like, I don't like people that say they want something and then just don't do anything about it. She seems like a go-getter. She seems like she has a fighter in her. And I feel like she's someone that will probably be underestimated. And there is a possibility, maybe pre-merge. However, I feel like she's one of the ones where if she's not underestimated, or to the degree like Erica was, she can definitely pull through. Whether or not she makes it to the very end, who's to say? I just think just kind of like looking at everything, and did I put anything more in my notes? I pretty much said everything.
Well, I can tell you already, she's not going to win the season.
No.
She is 19, so that would mean she would have to be the youngest winner ever of Survivor.
I didn't put her as she was number 6, but
what? No, I was saying that she's. I guess you're saying that she's not your like go-to winner, but I mean I have her like way down there. She is way down on my list because I know for a fact she can't win this game.
I don't think there is a possibility.
I mean, it's one of these things. It's like there's a lot of older people out there. They do not want to admit that a 19-year-old Ivy League student who's still in college,
she's still hasn't the fact that she's an Ivy League school, though.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, they don't want to have someone who's still, like just out of high school pretty much to be considered a better socially and strategically than someone who is in their 30s, 40s, like they're not going to want to give votes to someone that young. The best age range for Survivor, and like in the last like 10, 12 seasons, it's all fallen within like 28 to 36 or something like that. Like that's like the age range is around there. Tony Vlachos is different because it's Winners at War. It was a bunch of older people. That one doesn't. Yeah. That one's different. But like in terms of like first time seasons, it's around there is where, because those are the people who are able to talk to the older generation more easily and the younger generation more easily. But if you're so far on one side, it can be tough to get there. So that's my critique is I guess I just think that she might not garner any respect at the end.
There is that possibility.
Yeah.
But you make good points. You definitely make good points. it is a thing. We look at, younger people as more inexperienced. And like,
Mhm.
granted, I look at 18, 19-year-old Ryan, I'm like, what you doing? What
Yeah.
did you do? Jesus Christ. But, like, some would say that even was part of like Xander's downfall in
Yeah,
41.
that's what
Um,
I believe that too.
so you do make solid points.
Mhm.
I feel like we'll see something from her. I don't
Uh-huh.
think she's going to be a winner. I think we'll see
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, well, you know what? I know that you're probably going to critique me picking this next person, but
I may or may not.
because the next person we talked a slightly bit about him already. I'm going into your pool and I'm picking an immunity beast. I'm picking Jonathan Young as my next pick.
On the contrary, good sir, he was someone that was actually low on my list.
Yeah, I figured. I think he has the potential upside of winning. Honestly, in this season, I think if he can make it to the merge and have at least eliminated someone like High pre-merge, Drea, like some of these people who are expected to be physical threats, if he can get them out within pre-merge first couple merge boots, I think he can just straight up win. There's very few people on this cast that I think can compete with him in a lot of immunity challenges. Um, so now, obviously, I think if he loses like one, he loses. I think he's out. But
Yeah.
I'm a gambler. I think this is a great time to pick a gambling option, anyways. So I'm gonna pick Jonathan Young.
You're totally all right. Here's my thing about him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the ones we'll talk about when it comes to tribe chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I see him, and he definitely seems like, I mean, the dude has muscle stuff, has a strength-based world record and all that stuff. I feel like tribal chemistry is going to be one of the biggest obstacles for him pre-merge.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does seem like he does hold himself with confidence, and like whether or not that's blown up to 11 out there and it goes on the line of cocky, we don't know yet. But I can see that character go in that direction. Um, Only time will say. But like, given like who else is on that tribe, because I also was like, yeah, tribe. You have you have Marianne and you have Omar, and like obviously they're
Yeah.
together like that, and I feel like a lot of people might gravitate towards that alliance as opposed to like if Jonathan was like, I can definitely see like, I don't want to say he's a villain because like there's the possibility he's not.
I could see him being like a Culpepper-esque villain. Like Culpepper was considered a villain out there, but like I personally I didn't even think he was that bad of a guy. Like it's people
honestly,
just
yeah, it
people
was
just
just like,
yeah, it was people's perception of him.
I don't even think like, because when I rewatched 27 and I just
Mhm.
looked at it from a practical strategic point of view, he came
Yeah.
on strong, and I feel like that's one thing that Young will probably have to at least three of my, or four, the bottom four that I have on my list is
Yeah.
because my perception is they might come on too strong in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And he's one of the people where I can see that. Granted, he kind of talked in like a kind of
Mhm.
like a soother, more
Yeah.
soothing voice and stuff. I wouldn't say soothing like
Yeah.
lullaby, but like more in a
Mhm.
calmer voice and everything.
Uh-huh.
I just don't see him. I can see it rubbing people the wrong way, and
Yeah, I can see that, but the thing is, I'm still going off of this. I think that there aren't a lot of physical threats out there, and I think he's going to be he's in prime position to have a Joe Anglo kind of performance in the sense of I think he might just not go to tribal pre-merge. Like I
there is
really
that
think,
possibility.
especially with three tribes, two tribes winning immunity, like as long as he's just one of the like he's going to carry his tribe to wins regardless of like we might get a blue tribe fiasco where they're trying to throw a challenge and Jonathan Young just wins it himself.
We'll see. We'll see. He's someone where, he got a spot in the trailer,
Yeah,
but that's not always a guarantee.
yeah, exactly.
He's someone where I'm kind of up in the air. But I think it might be a little tough. Like, I guess like how I kind of like got everything, because like for my pre-merge like selection, because I was like, all right, 12, who might not make the merge? He was one of the picks where I was like, tribe chemistry might be, because like my bottom three are all from different tribes. Or wait, let me double check that. Yeah, I made sure that my bottom three were all from like different tribes. So like if one tribe were to go, at least it would be one of the bottom three if I had like a guess to say who. And he is at number 16. So like he's the one I think out of those three to make it further. But I'd say like I do think like out of the bottom four on my list, he's the person I think will go further in the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've already said, I think he's going to be safe pre-merge, but it's just because of his challenge. I do think he's going to not be a great social player. I think that he's going to be perceived very cocky, and people aren't going to want to align with him. And yet again, I'm betting on the chances of him getting to the merge with one or two of these other athletic people going out, and he's basically allowed to just win challenges. In like record times, like that's what I'm looking at.
Well, we will see.
Yeah.
Mr. Young.
Okay.
All right. Next up, number 5. So far, I have not chosen any guys, and I'm gonna continue that trend. So next up, this person, I'll admit, very risky, but she was someone who has been fun on her channel in the Brant Steele verse, and I root for her. I have to support her. I would say the middle of the list is fine, but it's one of those. It's kind of like she's one of the people where I'm like, she's either gonna be a pre-merge boot or she's gonna go further in the game. I don't think she can win, but I would say like I can see her, if she's not brought along as a GOAT, I can see her, making it to like 6 or 5. If like I know, did I even say her name yet, Lydia?
Yeah, we already know. I mean, I think if she gets brought to 6 or 5, I think they're bringing her to the end to be a GOAT. I don't see her really like controlling this game at all. I definitely see her best scenario is her being the GOAT fun character that gets screen time, but not really playing a great game.
She's someone that is very, very positive, looking at all her stuff and stuff like that. She doesn't seem like too driven, and that's one of the reasons why she's like in the mid/lower portion of my list.
She surprises on our Brant Steele. She's like, her and High are like the best performing players on our Brant Steele for 42.
Are they on the same team?
I don't think so.
Hold on.
Wait, they are. High and Lydia are on the same drive.
They are.
That's right, because that's how we did with our 42. They had to be stuck together forever.
Yeah. There's that possibility. It's one of the things, like I keep saying, I would say if I were to choose like a similar situation, I mean, there were kind of like a few people where on my side where I thought could have been high risk, high reward, like Nasir or Rick. I'm forgetting her name. She was the last one to get voted out on UA.
Jeannie.
Jeannie, yeah. Like it's one where like could go far, could go home early, like one of those things. Granted, Nasir was right in the middle, but you know what I mean. So, but I have to. She's an actress. I have to support her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got Lydia. I will tell you, she was pretty low on my list. It's not the lowest, but pretty low.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, I'm gonna pick someone who honestly I wasn't sure if I was gonna pick them, but I recently today watched some more stuff, some more got to see a confessional from her, and it was kind of a winner's confessional. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick her, and that is Marianne O'Ketch. Um, yeah, I feel like she's going to make a deep run. At first, like for a very long while, I wasn't sure on if she could actually win the game,
No,
but
I agree.
like listening to her, I think that she has that winner potential. She's already got a winner quote about like I want to prove that weird people can win this game too. Like she said something like that.
Yeah.
Which is it doesn't mean she's the winner, but it is a winning confessional. Like it
Yeah.
is a confessional winners will give in the first episode.
She is someone where, the more I read about her, the more interviews, I was like, man, she is so cool. Like
Yeah.
she was saying, like, oh, Davy is one of her favorite contestants, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Marianne is definitely someone I would be friends with in real life. I would say, like, the only thing is she's very, very positive, and she's also kind of like similar how you were saying with Swati, young as well.
Exactly.
And I feel like with Swati, or like I feel with Marianne, she just has such a bubbly personality. It might show her, it might come off as a weakness. Granted, she is in line with Omar, which I think is like probably I'm not saying the best thing for her, but it's a good position to be in because he seems like another power player. And like, like she's one where I'm like, I won't say I'll be devastated if she went home pre-merge. I'm just going to think it's going to suck a little bit,
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, I think she's got at least a mid-merge run in her. But yeah, it is. I don't know how she makes it to the end. I honestly, she was a little lower on my list originally, but when I kind of like was doing this kind of like re-watching, kind of like re-familiarizing myself with it, she actually jumped up a bit where I was like, wait a second, it could happen. Like I think there is this chance now.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm rooting for her.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not to win, but I am definitely rooting for her. She's one of the people I'm like, looks like she can light up a room.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as my number 5 pick, I think that's a pretty good placement for
very
her.
much so.
Yeah.
I think at this point, because we have 8 contestants left, like obviously there are going to be some, like at this point we understand like 5 and above, or I would say like 4 and above, we're like, all right, we're putting some stock in these people. 5 and 5, 6, it was like, yeah, these are kind of like safe bets. And like 7, 8, 9, they're like, we don't have too much faith unless, like it was already taken by the other person.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say you haven't hit the person yet.
I'm nervous because like odds are I'm gonna hit the person.
Yeah.
It's a very bad thing on my end because like you know who it is, so obviously you're not going to choose the person.
Yeah.
Unless you're stuck with them.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, every time you get it right, that means I have to take out someone else who's not it. So
so there are 8 people left. Now, all right, so thing is, it's like this. So right now, the top 8 on my list have been chosen. Either by, I'd say 6 of them are mine, 2 of them are yours. Now, 9 is someone where I'm like, do I really want to draft this person though? And I'm like looking at 10, and 10 is someone who I was like, it's one of the people where I think they're going to be underestimated. So
I'm so interested.
This might be dumb. I already have the majority of girls. I know last season I chose 6 girls and 3 guys. Looks like at the very least I'm doing it again. I'm going to choose as my number 6 spot Lindsay Dalashewicz.
Okay. She was actually one of my next ones to pick.
All right. She was number 10 on my list. But here's why I think she has a lot going for her. She's someone where on the surface doesn't look like, oh, dietitian, stuff like that. Underestimated might be brushed off as like, an attractive like woman who, is like, you might look or like, shove to the side and like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, she's like a woman. It's that. However, she watching the Entertainment Weekly stuff, she treated like during the pandemic, she was like studying these seasons. Like she said she would go through 2 seasons a week, which is pretty well. I mean, my pandemic numbers were a bit it was a bit faster, so I consider them rookie numbers, but to a normal person, that's pretty impressive. That's like a lot of a content to sit through. She seems very smart. She has that social awareness. And what else did I write? Because I feel like there was some things I might have forgotten. I give very shitty notes. But yeah, just like looking at her and stuff, I feel like she definitely has like a confidence about her. Not like my initial reaction where it was like, oh, kind of like a Jerry kind of feel, but like I can see the similarity, but I see her being a bit more socially aware. I feel like that's the main thing, the main choice that I'm using for a lot of these people. Though I do think she might get targeted because she does seem like a strong player.
Yeah, so my read on her is I agree. I actually think she's got the capabilities of being a great player. My fear is I don't want to give too much away because I'm not really sure how it might go. But I think she might become allies with Jonathan Young. I see the two of them pairing up, and I think they might keep Jonathan over her if they were to go to tribal, and they wanted to keep their challenge person maybe an extra round just in case he can kind of keep going. And I think she might fall into that very unfortunate like she basically just loses because she gets attached to the wrong person.
And that's one of the things pre-merge you can't really, well, in the sense like you can choose to align with someone or not, but like you can't choose you can't really choose how tribe chemistry is going to go. You can try and like make it work, but you don't really know how it's actually going to vibe until you get like a tribal council or like until something like that happens. So I share your worry. Someone I want to see, pardon me, hiccup. Someone I want to see go, make it further in the game and not go pre-merge. But now that you told me that, now I'm going to be worried when all these tribes go to tribal. Not gonna lie.
It always is the case. There's very few people that were like, go home already.
We'll see. I mean, like we all know me and what was his name? The very teethy, smiley guy,
Brad Reese.
I was like, Brad.
And he was one of the best parts of the season. Fight me on it.
He was a nice guy, and like he definitely, I'd say like he definitely contributed to like the narrative of pre-merge, but like he still wasn't my favorite part of that. But no, I agree. I agree in the sense of like, yeah, normally we don't want just people like, nah, screw them.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool. All right.
Awesome. My next pick is someone who is compared a lot to one of the people who I've picked as my winner before, Tony Vlachos type, and that is Mike Turner, the retired firefighter, who I believe does get a beware advantage.
Yeah, he does. You see him talking. It's his hands are there, like. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I expect him to be finding idols throughout the season. As long as he's there, I think he's going to be trying to constantly be doing something. As a firefighter, we've seen firefighters usually do pretty well on Survivor, as they're usually working harder than most of the other people out there.
It's like the mentality of a first responder.
Exactly. So I definitely think he does have some Tony upsides. Definitely an older version of Tony. It's the equivalent of seeing if Tony can play in 10 years. We're getting to see that with Mike Turner now.
Yeah. The thing about Mike, I think like in some regards he could be a high risk, high reward contestant.
Yeah.
Because he does come on he does come on strong, and I need to refresh myself on the track, but I feel like he's one of the people where it's like it depends on how people take that energy.
Yeah.
Not saying
he is on, I think, the weakest tribe in terms of physical strength. So it's going to be a little tough for him, pretty much. I will say that. But if he can overcome it.
No, I feel like the thing is, I think we both understand who might be the first one. From that tribe.
Yeah.
But like I feel like he's someone where like he definitely has like a strong personality, and strong personalities usually it ends up you either love them or you hate them. Or like sometimes it takes some getting used to. In a fast-paced game, sometimes you don't have time to get used to something. He is fourth from the bottom, but that's mostly because he's coming on strong and he has a beware, and like the beware stuff can go either way.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think this is a pretty good pick, kind of near the bottom a little bit.
Yeah. Then again, like if he's like a dominant personality within the series, I'm totally behind that. Though I do think his chances of, just especially since aggressive players were targeted a lot, except for in obviously the UA tribe, but even so, like still kind of targeted Brad, and I wouldn't call JD aggressive, but definitely a big personality. The name, I can see like them taking him out as a result of that, but we'll see.
We shall see.
All right, so our final three picks. I still see, I feel so bad for this guy. At number 9, he's still there, but you haven't claimed one person yet. And I think I need to grab this person. And that person is Jackson Fox.
Okay.
Oh no. Was that the person?
No. Go ahead. Tell me why you picked him.
One of the things, like, seems very, very smart. He's a healthcare worker as well, so like someone that he definitely has like I have a good, like, what else did I write? I definitely feel like he's a mid team, like a near 11, or maybe I had him 11 on my list. He feels like a merge thing where he has the capability of going far. He just gives me like a vibe. I can't quite place it. Like, I wouldn't say there was anything that wowed me from his interviews and stuff, except when you start your own business, as someone who makes his own schedule for work and stuff, I know how much like discipline that takes, and especially like betting on yourself and stuff. So I think that definitely gives him merit. Also, as I was like going through looking up the cast and stuff, he is the first openly trans male contestant. Should say that. But that's not why. But like in the sense of like, he just gives off a thing of like, I wouldn't say sleeper threat, but I wouldn't say like a big threat. He's like a mid-tier threat.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to give my opinions now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So skip ahead if you don't want to have any potential spoilers. I don't know if this will spoil anything. but Jackson Fox is, I think, the one that gets medevaced here. And a lot of this comes from the so in the first immunity challenge, we see that there were two people sitting out of the challenge. We got Lydia and we got Romeo Escobar sitting out of the first challenge, which means that someone from the Taku tribe is like not there, basically. And at least from what I can gather, I think he's the most likely one to not be there.
Him on Survive, they should have been more aware of that. Dang, it's like,
yeah. So I mean, he was one of the ones also that had just his like this job description wasn't there for a very long time. And I mean, yeah, I just look at everyone else and it's like they kind of, I feel like they're being geared up to have somewhat of a interesting run, like not a first boot run. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm not very responsive. It's because I'm like, oh no, I chose the person.
Yeah. Now this could be completely wrong. Like
you never. Yeah, it's true. It could be a thing where because Survivor doesn't necessarily like getting or like they try and obviously if it's life threatening or if someone might lose a limb, that's when they try and like medevac. But if it's something like that, we'll see. So
it's unfortunate. I hate when stuff like this happens, especially as a first boots like medevac. I actually was coming into this. I was going to actually kind of compare him to a Pat Cusack actually in terms of like what I kind of expect from him around camp, kind of being more of an old school kind of like let's kind of build a shelter, kind of like he's trying to kind of have more into that aspect. But unfortunately, there's a chance that they're going to share more than just that.
Well, damn.
Yeah, which yet again, it's terrible. I really hope that what I'm saying is just me looking into it too much.
Well, it's not just you. A lot of like there was an article that I didn't click on, but or I don't even remember which tribe was on there. But there is that possibility. And I'm sure like even if neither of us knew this, someone in the comments probably would have said something.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. But you might have taken the bomb here, and
well, I mean, clearly I don't. Clearly, the top 9 aren't going to beat everyone that I chose.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though that was kind of how things were almost looking for you after episode 1. The last time, but how hard it is to get 9 right out the bat.
Actually it was pretty even last season with us for a bit, and then it became like a bunch of people. You lost like 4 or 5 people like in a row pretty much, and even though you got some people near the end still, it was like, well, you lost you lost a bunch of people in a row.
Well, they can't all. Obviously, it's the bottom 9. I don't have too much stock in these people, but yeah.
Okay. Well, you got Jackson Fox. That's
I'm still bummed about the whole thing.
We'll see. We don't know. I'm hoping it's wrong.
I hope so too.
Okay. Next up, I'm picking someone who I think could have a very bad, I could see her going out first, and I can see her winning the thing. And those are her scales. So
there's only one girl left. So
yeah. So I'm gonna pick her, and that is Jenny Kim. I think she's got the potential to be a very strong game player. However, I also can see her coming on very strong, like you've been saying, and I think she could maybe try to be too much in the power position at the start, and it might not go in her favor. But also, if it does go in her favor, I think she's gonna have a very good control of this game. Like I really think that a lot's gonna depend on how her day one does go.
Yeah, she was like at 14 on my list, so she was like right after where I said, yeah, I can see like the top 14, I can totally see make the merge. So I would say like out of everyone, she didn't wow me as much as everyone else. So there is that possibility. I think tribe chemistry and like power is definitely going to play a factor on whether or not she'll go home. So we'll see there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think she has a very wide spectrum. She could be out early. She could win the thing. She could be mid, like the merge boot. Like I really could see her like fitting anywhere in this season and it making sense.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Jenny, if you watch this, that you got so little time. They didn't do you justice.
That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. All right, next, we only have 4 contestants. We only get 2 choices left.
Yep.
And so this person is at number 9, and I haven't chosen them yet. And there's no way I'm going to be like, there's no way I'm going to skip them anymore. So my number 8 pick is going to be Zach Wardenberger.
Yep, I was waiting for that.
Now, I know there are some similarities. Skinny, young, white guy, on the nerdier side. It's just, I forget, not Spencer from 28, but Spencer from 18. He kind of gives me those vibes, where he seems capable. It's just like, I don't know, like there's something where he's a little awkward, which is charming. I just don't think it wows me. Or like, he has a lot of, I think he has, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of good qualities and stuff like that. It's just he doesn't wow me as much as people from that archetype in the past have. I feel like, could he play a Spencer type game, Spencer Bledsoe? Maybe, but
yeah, I definitely get more Adam Klein vibes from him. I think
that's more accurate.
Yeah, I like, because I don't actually know if he's going to be, because at least Spencer, like I think he was very physical and very good at the challenges. I think Zach's going to be decent at them, but I don't think he's going to like have that. Yeah, I don't think he's blowing challenges out of the water or anything like that.
It's fair. It's definitely fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of low on him. I think he has that potential upside, but he's also such a super fan. Sometimes coming into seasons as the super fan can blow up in your face.
Yeah, as we're gonna get to, and like
right next, because I think I'm picking him, but
really, he was. All right, we'll finish up Zach before we get into Daniel.
Yeah.
But he's someone where I want to. He's at number 9. Like I feel like the middle of the game is probably where he's going to end up losing. But so many different factors play into that. But yeah.
I don't think he's going to be one of the first ones going on his tribe.
No.
I think there's a few other people who are more likely to be the ones kind of thrown to the wolves. But yeah, I do have trouble seeing him make it to the end overall. But hopefully, he gives us some good confessionals. Hopefully he doesn't kind of become an introvert or stop kind of giving us good confessionals throughout, because I feel like he has the potential to have some really funny, clips in there. Yeah,
I agree. Come on, Zach.
Exactly.
Well, season's already filmed, so come on, pass, Zach.
Yes. Okay. Well, my next pick, I already kind of said it here. I'm picking Daniel Strunk. I think he has. I'm basically picking him purely because I want to root for him. This is this is really like I think he has that. I think he's going to Jacob Derwin himself out of this game. I am positive that this is going to happen. But
He gives off those vibes.
but if somehow he doesn't, I think he has then the Rick Devens upside of potentially becoming this massive underdog that makes it weirdly very far.
We compared him to both.
So I think
he's kind of screwed over by some twists, which is why I thought maybe he got the Beware.
Yeah. I think it's very unfortunate that he's on this tribe. I think that this tribe might have actually doomed him from being able to have a Rick Devens-like performance. Because I think this tribe goes to tribal. I bet they're going at least 3 times if this tribe doesn't swap. Like, I'm thinking that they're going at least 3 times. I don't think he survives 3 votes.
Where is he on again? Oh,
yeah, he's with Chanelle, Daniel, Hyde, Jenny, Lydia, and Mike Turner. I don't think he survives 3 votes on this tribe.
I don't think he's number 18 on my list. And it's not because I hate the guy at all. It's just like he comes on very, very strong with the Survivor fanness. And like I feel like that's his biggest downfall because it's not like in Spinal Tap where it's turned up to 11, it's up to like 12.
Yeah.
And the amp doesn't even go that far.
Yeah.
It's sad because like we're all super clearly we've been doing this for like what 3 years will be 3 years, but like you know, like we've been doing this for like 2.5 years. Clearly, we're big fans of it too. It's just the energy he's giving off, and maybe there could be a thing of lack of social awareness that we don't know yet. You don't know how someone's going to act with other people until we see it. This is based off of just the interviews and his bio, but he's like a super strong, hardcore nerd.
Yeah,
and like. That could rub people the wrong way, but I don't want to say push off. It's just like it's a one thing that makes him different than everyone else, and sometimes different means target.
Yeah, I like that in his bio he mentioned Fabio as someone who he thinks is going to play the game like.
Yep, I noticed that, and I'm like, interesting.
Yeah. So, yet again, he's definitely the highest. I guess not even highest risk because I'm picking him almost last here. In fact, he's the last person I get to actually choose who I want on my team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's the most likely. Pre-merge boot, but I think he's a lot of fun, so I want to root for him as little as time he's out there.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? He could have a David Wright kind of thing.
Exactly.
And we don't even know.
Exactly. Okay, who are you going to pick, and just who are you giving me?
All right, so our final 2 people that we haven't chosen yet is Roxroy Bailey and Romeo Escobar. Now, Roxroy, for those of you who do not, let's say you don't look at the like leaks or anything like that, for the longest time he did not have a photo, and so like we were just kind of like up in the air who this man could be, and a lot of people were like, oh, that doesn't look good. He could be like a pre-merge boot. You know, clearly he's going to be number 9 for one of us, though I will get into a second once one of us mentions him, where I actually put him. Because when I made the list, I did keep that in mind, but I also kind of put that on the side and not have it influence. So the other person is Romeo Escobar. And if you watch the Entertainment Weekly videos, his was at night. Yeah. Which was like, it wasn't like, because obviously they filmed outside and like, you know, outside, you know, daylight goes down and stuff like that. The thing is, his was so different and like, it definitely looked like sundown, and they were like, it's either A, as someone, like as people that have been in the business for some time now, is either A, they lost the footage and they had to refilm it, or B, well, there's three options. A, they lost
Is there a fourth
footage.
one you want to add?
There might be. They lost the footage and had to reshoot it. B, they debated whether or not to like film it the next day or not, and then they were like, screw it, we have to do it at night because they noticed the sun was going down during his stuff. C, something happens and it just makes him early boot. Or D, just another option that we haven't discussed yet. Now, we'll get to one of them in a sec, but who I'm choosing for my number 9, this might be a riskier one, but I'm actually going with Roxroy Bailey.
Oh, that's the one I wanted.
Well, for me, he seems like a very nice guy. I know, like, if I placed him at number 12 on my list, because I tried to set aside, him not having a picture. And so, like, he was someone where I watched this stuff. He seems like a very calm player. He seems like a very, like, neutral kind of guy. And I feel like that's just kind of like his default. And so he seems like someone that is cool, calm, collective. Now, whether or not he's going to, make strategic moves or go along with it, it's tough to say. However, he's like someone where I'm like, I don't want to completely discredit him, even though he's being chosen last, to because of the whole leak thing and like him not having a photo. But at the same time, like looking at everything, I think he has a shot. Like, it's just tough. And tribe chemistry might play a factor. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's number 9. So
yeah, an interesting thing I've noticed. So some predictions, like I've seen some other YouTubers do predictions of how they think the cast, like analyzing the cast, and some of them have Roxroy as like one of their top 3 choices for the season. Like they have, and then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Let me look at the betting odds, because you can look at betting odds for Survivor, and he's one of the top choices in betting odds. People are actually very high on Roxroy Bailey going into the season.
Well, do you know how odds work?
Yeah, I have no idea. There are multiple people thinking he's going to win the season.
To those of you that don't know how betting works. So, like, usually when someone has lower odds, or like when the number 1 to whatever it is, let's say it's 1 in 100, it's bad. And 1 and 2 is a bit better because it's like a 50-50 shot, et cetera, and everything in between and beyond that, because numbers. So, like, a lot of people, if they're like that high risk, high reward, crazy ass thing, all their chips in on this big, crazy, like, gamble, there could be a thing. I think we all have the thought, what if he just, that was just a fluke and he actually plays a major part in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just internet trolls who are like, haha, we don't know anything about Roxroy Bailey, let's put him. But like some people think he's going to be great in this game. Like actual Survivor like YouTubers are like putting him very high.
I think he does have potential, like on the groundwork thing. I would say he's not a very aggressive player, just based off everything I've seen. But can he be like that methodical part where it's like, cool, calm, collective, very methodical? I can totally see him go that route. Maybe if that whole thing never happened, where they actually showed his picture, things like that, he could have been higher on my list. But at the same time, everyone that's kind of above him, I think, will probably do a little bit better. So I want to see more from him, and I think we will. It's just like,
I still personally think he's a pre-merge boost. Like I still have him in that regards.
I had him at the Sydney thing. Like I can see him go past. I can see him make it to the merge, but I won't be like surprised or heartbroken
Yeah.
Who knows? I might fall in love with with how he plays, stuff like that, and his personality and stuff. But like on the surface, I'm not going to be like too upset if he goes home pre-merge, mostly because I don't know too much about him. So that's kind of like where I stand. If he does great, cool beans. If not, I'm sorry that's how the cookie has crumbled.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll kind of transition this a little bit into Romeo Escobar. So you've given me Romeo as you taken Roxroy. Yeah, he was very low on my list. He was 17. So
he was
yeah.
17 on mine as well.
Yeah, he was someone I wasn't really gonna pick. Only person who would have, if I had the chance, would have picked him over Jackson Fox. That's the only option. But yeah, I mean, I see him on this tribe just not doing well. I think he's going to be one of the first ones in trouble. I think Ica will be going to tribal at least once or twice in this pre-merge. So I think he's going one of those times. I don't know which one.
He comes off strong, and like sometimes it's like it's very strong and aggressive as well. Yeah. So we were talking about Ricard earlier on with High, but I feel like the negative side of Ricard turned up to 11 or 12. I would say 11. That's just like the vibe that he's been given through editing and just like what he's been doing in the interviews. So we'll see, but clearly he's on the bottom of our list, so we don't have too much stock in the man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who knows? He could be a very fun villain. Yeah. And I will say this: I did say when we were going through like our Brand Steel stuff, he doesn't look like your typical Survivor contestant either. Now, I thought that originally, before the interviews and stuff, that could go either one way: high risk, high reward, any of that. But like, given how strong he's coming off, I can see it very much rubbing off the wrong way and leading to his elimination.
Yeah, I can see that too. I see him. Yeah, I guess as I think just a worse version of Ricard's. Like I think that his ceiling is just lower than Ricard's, and I think his floor is lower than the Ricard's was. So, yeah. But that does it for our 18 castaways. But now we never mentioned, I believe, in the video that there's a bet attached to this one.
There are stakes. Before we do that, shouldn't we go through each other's team?
That's right. Yeah. Go for it. You go first.
So for Ryan, we have Tori Meehan, Chanelle Howard, Drea Wheeler, Swati Gold, Lydia Meredith, Lindsay. Sorry, my handwriting is shitty. Jackson Fox, Zach Whataburger. Wardenberger. He probably got this his entire life. I'm sorry, man. Wardenberger and Roxroy Bailey.
Okay, and then my list is Hai Jiang, Omar Zaheer, Jonathan Young, Mariah Sharon, Mike Turner, Marianne Oketch, Romeo Escobar, Jenny Kim, and Daniel Strunk.
Yeah, I think we have a really, really good cast. I'm excited to see how everything plays out. We have like at the time of filming it, we're filming it on Thursday, so we got less than a week. I'm excited. I'm nervous, and I'm a bit more nervous because of the stakes.
Yep.
Are we doing it for winner pick, or are we doing like the points thing?
So I feel like I would win points based off the few times we've done this before.
In general, like I probably doomed my entire tribe by choosing them.
Yeah, I feel like you're good at picking the people who like do very well, but then you have like just a bunch of the people who go pre-merge.
I chose freaking Jackson, and I feel like he was fine in one universe, but because I chose him based on his stuff, it we entered a universe where something happened to him that made him a
Okay.
medevac.
How about this? If one of us wins, how much did I win by last time? I wish I knew
A
that.
great margin. I think
Because I want to have it. I'd be fine if there was like you have to win by a certain amount for that to count.
I feel like I think the only two saving graces was Heather and Eric, because like Heather made it to 14, and then we said that the winner would get more points as a result, but
Yeah.
not enough to really like close the gap. Like there was a certain point, I think, was it Liana's elimination? It was like around that ballpark where just like mathematically speaking, there was no way for me to win.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a little bit in there. Let's see. So
Is this the same notebook? It should be. Yeah, it is. I just have a frick ton of notes.
yeah, okay. You know what? Let's say it's winner, but if one of us wins by a points margin of 8 or more, so that means that one person has to like really suck overall.
Wait, so now I'm confused on the rules because like if let's say you win the winner pick, but I do better when it comes to like the overall points.
Yes,
The
then
fantasy portion.
yeah. So if you get 9, if you end up winning by like 9 or more, let's so if you can hit the 9 thresholds, you win.
Let's say 11 or more because I feel like there could be some.
Okay, because I just know every like int like 1 is the equivalent of losing a points. So you'd have to. Okay, yeah, let's go 10. Let's meet in the middle at 10.
10. All right.
Okay.
All right. So, as some of you may know, on this channel, I'm not the biggest fan of Danny Boatwright.
Mm-hmm.
As the player, as the person, I've never met her as the person, but as a player, and because she beat Stephanie, and like she is like one of the highest regarded underrated players, I think she's a little overrated. So, if this is your first time, in the past we have done cameos on here from Nasir and Victoria. So, what we decided is if I lose, I have to pay for a cameo from Danny Boatwright. Now, whatever all that entails, I hope not because she's going to see how much I've trash talked her, but in the sense of I'm very passionate. If you want to, Danny Boatwright, if you want to meet, hug it out, talk things out, I'm okay. But your reputation on our Brant Steels and the fact that you beat Stephanie, it does not favor well with me. You could be a great person. I can't stress that enough. I don't. But if I lose, I have to pay for a cameo.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, and if I lose, I have to pay for a cameo from someone around the same price value that Danny Boatwright has from this cast. We could also do Johnny Fairplay. I'm looking right now; he has a $20 cameo.
You love him though.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's like you love him. That's the only tricky thing. The only person I could think of that matches that I saw on there was Sandra Diaz. But her, you think for a 2-time millionaire winner, she would charge a little less.
Honestly, she's less than Erica, which is interesting.
I guess maybe because Erica just got on Cameo as well.
Yeah, what I noticed when Erica first got on, she was charging $35, and then she went up to $40, then $50, and now $60, then $65. So she's been marketing it up.
Well, I mean, I feel like, granted, neither of us are on Cameo, but I feel like there is a thing of like supply demand, and it's like, if if the supply being her time to make a video and stuff like that, and not being back ordered and stuff, it's like sometimes you have to charge more. Not because you value yourself higher, it's just that in order to kind of like give yourself less work to do. as a result. It's like not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just like a thing that someone does because like the supply is or the demand is higher than one can do in an efficient amount of time.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll see who ends up losing this bet. Maybe I'll get Roxroy. Maybe I'll have to pay for Roxroy.
No, Romeo.
Or Romeo.
Either way, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because we're just paying them because we don't like them. Or I feel so bad.
Hey, it's something.
Watch
Okay.
it. I go on Survivor, Danny Boatwright and I just become best friends.
Yeah, Danny Boatwright comes back for a captain season. She's the captain of your tribe. How great would that be?
I can see it happening one of two ways. It's like a Loomis and Mike Myers situation. Or like I realize, or like we're both like on the bottom and it's like we have to stick together in order to
the unlikely alliance.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like you and you don't like me. I don't even know you. Okay,
who are you?
But
you ordered a cameo for me one time.
yeah, but anywho, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. But that pretty much does it here for this episode. This is the last one before we get into our coverage here. So this is pretty exciting. You know, we're about to go into our 4th season. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, in the comment section, please let us know who your winner picks are. You can just jot down your entire prediction and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's always fun.
Comment, subscribe. We're almost up to 100 subscribers. So we're getting there.
We are.
Yeah, pretty good. I think when we started this, I think on my channel I had like 13, 15 subs. So since we started, getting some people.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank to you guys that have subscribed and have been watching our brand steals and stuff and our review of each episode. And get ready, it's coming. Yeah, so y'all have a great or weekend or week, and we'll see you guys next week for Survivor 42.
Okay, adios guys.
Peace.